Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a dinosaur that everyone knows, but for a long time, science said didn't even exist. I'm talking about the one, the only Brontosaurus. That's right, the thunder lizard. For decades, if you said Brontosaurus, a paleontologist might have corrected you, saying, "You mean Apatosaurus." It was one of the most famous mix-ups in the history of science. But guess what? The thunder lizard is back, and its story is more fascinating than you can imagine. So how did this giant get lost and then found again? It all goes back to the late 1800s, a wild time in American history known as the Bone Wars. This was a fierce rivalry between two paleontologists, Othniel Charles Marsh and Edward Drinker Cope. They were in a frantic race to discover and name as many new dinosaur species as possible. In 1877, Marsh discovered a partial skeleton and named it Apatosaurus ajax, meaning deceptive lizard. It was a big find, but not a complete skeleton. Just 2 years later, in 1879, Marsh's team found another, more complete skeleton of a similar-looking sauropod. Believing it was a different genus entirely, he named this one Brontosaurus excelsus, the noble thunder lizard. The problem was, this new Brontosaurus skeleton was missing a skull. Back then, finding a complete dinosaur skeleton was incredibly rare. So Marsh did what he thought was best. He reconstructed the skeleton for display, but he had to guess what the head looked like. He looked at the skeletons of other dinosaurs found nearby, like Camarasaurus, which had a boxy, robust skull, and decided to mount a Camarasaurus-like skull on his Brontosaurus body. This iconic image of a giant, long-necked dinosaur with a square-jawed head became the Brontosaurus everyone knew and loved. It was featured in museums, books, and movies for generations. But as the 20th century rolled on, other paleontologists started looking closer. In 1903, a scientist named Elmer Riggs re-examined both of Marsh's discoveries. He concluded that Brontosaurus wasn't a separate genus after all. He argued it was just a more mature, larger species of the first dinosaur Marsh found, Apatosaurus. Since Apatosaurus was named first, the rules of scientific naming meant its name had priority. And so, just like that, Brontosaurus was officially demoted. The scientific community declared it was a mistake, and the proper name for the creature was Apatosaurus. Museums even started replacing the labels on their displays. The thunder lizard was gone. Even more interesting, further discoveries revealed that the skull Marsh had placed on the Brontosaurus body was completely wrong. Later finds of Apatosaurus skeletons that included skulls showed they actually had much more slender, horse-like heads, similar to another dinosaur, Diplodocus. So not only was the name Brontosaurus considered incorrect, but the classic image we all had of it was a composite of two different dinosaurs. It was a double whammy. For over a century, Brontosaurus became the poster child for paleontological errors, a fun fact to share at parties about a dinosaur that never was. But science is always evolving. It's a process of constant questioning and re-evaluation. Fast forward to 2015, a team of paleontologists from Portugal and the United Kingdom decided to conduct a massive, incredibly detailed study of sauropod dinosaurs from the family Diplodocidae, which includes Apatosaurus and Diplodocus. Using advanced computer technology, they analyzed hundreds of different anatomical features across dozens of different skeletons. They weren't specifically trying to resurrect Brontosaurus. They were just trying to sort out the family tree of these long-necked giants. What they found was stunning. After meticulously comparing every bone, they discovered that the differences between the original Apatosaurus specimen and the original Brontosaurus specimen were numerous and significant enough to warrant placing them in separate genera. According to their incredibly thorough analysis, Brontosaurus was, in fact, a distinct dinosaur. The differences were subtle, but clear, things like Brontosaurus having a higher and wider neck than Apatosaurus, among other variations. The 2015 study was so comprehensive that it convinced a large part of the paleontological community. The thunder lizard had made its triumphant return. So, what was the real Brontosaurus like? Let's paint a picture. This magnificent creature lived during the late Jurassic period, about 155 to 150 million years ago, in what is now North America. It was a true giant, measuring up to 72 feet, or 22 meters, long and weighing an estimated 15 tons. Imagine a creature as long as 2 school buses and as heavy as 3 large elephants. Its most prominent feature was its incredibly long neck, which it likely used to graze on low-lying vegetation like ferns and cycads, sweeping its head from side to side like a giant feeding wand. Contrary to old illustrations that showed it living in swamps, we now know Brontosaurus was a fully terrestrial animal. The idea that it needed water to support its immense weight has been debunked. Its legs were like massive pillars, designed to carry its bulk across dry, fern-covered plains. And then there's its tail. The long, whip-like tail probably served as a formidable defensive weapon. Some scientists even speculate that a rapid crack of its tail could have broken the sound barrier, creating a thunderous sonic boom. Perhaps the name thunder lizard was more accurate than Marsh ever knew. Now, what about the name Apatosaurus? It's still a valid dinosaur. Don't worry. Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus are now considered close cousins, to distinct genera living alongside each other in the Jurassic landscape. Think of them like lions and tigers. Both are big cats, but they are definitely different species. Apatosaurus was generally a bit more robust and heavily built, while Brontosaurus was slightly more slender. These subtle differences in their anatomy might mean they had slightly different lifestyles or feeding strategies, allowing them to coexist without directly competing for the same resources. The story of Brontosaurus is a perfect example of how science works. It's not about having all the answers at once. It's a messy, human process of discovery, debate, correction, and rediscovery. Mistakes are made, but with new evidence and better technology, our understanding gets sharper and more accurate over time. The fact that Brontosaurus was erased and then brought back shows the self-correcting nature of the scientific method in action. It is a testament to the researchers who dedicate their lives to piecing together the puzzle of the ancient world. So the next time you see a picture of this majestic long-necked dinosaur, you can confidently call it Brontosaurus. You can tell your friends that the thunder lizard is real, and its journey through scientific history is one of the greatest comeback stories of all time. It is a reminder that even things we think are set in stone can change with new discoveries, and the world of the past is always holding new surprises for us to uncover. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the Jurassic to rediscover the mighty Brontosaurus. What's your favorite dinosaur? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more incredible stories from the history of life on Earth, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.